this spot. It's like a mountain spring. I'm gonna grab some water bottles to fill up. Okay. See, it comes right out of the mountain right there. People come out here with like big old jugs and fill up all their jugs.
Water's free.
Water's free, it should be free. Get your mushrooms from the woods, get your fish from the rivers, get your water from the mountain.
One time it was raining and he picked me up from the airport and he's like, oh, we're gonna go fishing today. Even before we got there, he pulled over on this fire road and I just see him going up in the hills and I'm like, what is he doing? And he just comes back with, I think it was chanterelle mushrooms, a hat full of chanterelles. He caught a salmon, filleted it. He took the eggs from the salmon for his wife to eat. Trip out on this dude. He just got all these mushrooms, caught a fish, and then on the way home, he calls his wife. He's like, hey, start cooking some rice and pick some kale from the garden. This guy just foraged the whole meal for his family from nature. Yeah, there's something to say about that.
This is the Baxter Neal family farm, kind of. We've been here for like 10 years or something. We moved here to be closer to family and kind of better schools and better access to food. And this property was awesome. Like, it's a big yard and it's really private. So we kind of based our home purchase off of the yard. Joey made us these gates and they're made from the wood from our skate park. A lot of it was labeled back quarter and it'll be like 4-foot quarter written on it. When I'm like pulling through my wood pile, I'll be like, oh yeah, this is from the wall ride or like the bank or whatever, you know? Little memories. I like to be creative and do stuff, and so I just started like making these collages and then ended up, you know, thought they'd be cool board graphics. You know, each color will kind of be a board. So this is like a 4-board series. You know, like that was the funnest part. I was like painting the paper and just seeing what I came out with, you know, and then I would take them and then I would start ripping them up into like little pieces. And I wasn't all that excited when it was done. It was kind of like the process was what I really enjoyed more than the actual final piece. And that's kind of why it's still in these pieces. You know, I haven't finalized it and put it down or laid it down as anything. You should never finish your projects because then you have to find new projects. So I did these other board series, and these were like kind of supposed to be like some map kind of topographic ideas. It was also cool because then I could kind of imagine what the landscape was like. You know, as I was building them, I was like, oh, so, you know, this is like these steep big mountains with really steep inclines, and then this canyon right in here that doesn't go all the way through, that's stopped by like a wall, you know. So I think because of the colors too, I was thinking this would be more like of a volcanic kind of mountain, you know what I mean? So that's why it has like this crater in the top, you know. This is probably gonna be a graphic as well. Something about like ripping up paper really feels good to me. I like the rough edges and the textures and just like the odd shapes, and we do a lot of art together. I think she drew on some of my techniques, took some of my techniques from me, but. So this is like all of our veggie starts. This is Mizuna, which is like a lettuce kind of stuff. This is all kales and chard, Romanesca, cauliflower, bok choy, Chinese broccoli. We love eating, we love food. You know, we grow our own food. We try and like get really good food. That's where a big part of our money goes, is going to the grocery store and buying food, you know. Slowing down a little bit and starting to make that stuff ourselves, making more breads, you know, like pickling and doing these things. It takes a little extra effort, but it's so rewarding because we know what goes into it. We get to put our own energy into it. We get to make it the way that we want to make it. You know, food costs so much money, you know, like I think most people really love food and enjoy eating and like would probably really enjoy growing their own food and making their own food from scratch, you know. And I'm fortunate that I get to do something that I love and make money to do it. And I make enough where I can choose the kind of foods that I get to eat, you know, but not everybody has those opportunities, and that's kind of crazy to me. The money is one thing, but also just like the amount of damage we do to the place where we live, you know, this earth, to the air that we breathe, to the water we drink, to the soil that our food comes from. That so much of that damage is done from us wanting to have that convenience, to having like food easily available to us. Maybe some people might think that as like this radical idea, and like I think the other side is pretty radical. The idea that you have to have your food put into a plastic bag in order for you to bring it home and eat it is a radical idea, you know.
Wall going up to it.
Like I just didn't think that I even understood how pro skateboarding worked at all for many years. But I didn't think that you would make enough money to be that like your only profession, you know. I thought like there was like 10 guys that made good money and the rest of them had to do like contests and that's how you made money or something. It wasn't until I moved to San Francisco that I kind of realized that lots of people made enough money to at least pay their rent off pro skateboarding. I moved down there, you know, knowing that I was gonna get a job, and like I asked Powell to help me out like a little bit with money, and they said that they would, and then I got there and then they wouldn't. So I was like out of money, burnt. I had filmed like a season's part and I'd had a part in Thrasher, and you know, I thought I'd like given it a good try and it just didn't work out. I ended up moving to Denver with the intention of getting like a shitty job that I didn't care about just so I could skate more and have fun. And shortly after, Brennan came out to Denver and skated with me, decided they were gonna put me on Habitat and started paying me a little bit of money, like kind of just enough to make rent. Kind of funny, I had like a running IOU list with my wife at the time, like on the refrigerator. So like every time I get a check, I'd like pay her back everything. And then the list would start over and I start owing her more money again. And that's when I was filming for Inhabitants and like I was a sponsored skateboard, you know, like it was working for me.
He's always had this like crazy work ethic. He was the guy that you would go on a trip with and he'd get more photos than anybody or more video footage than anyone. And it wasn't like he was trying to outdo other people, it's just ingrained in him, the work ethic, you know?
At that time, I thought I was gonna be done by the time I was 30, for sure, you know, like it just was like, it wasn't even like a question. Burnett came to Santa Rosa to come shoot photos with me and I like Smith grinded that double kink. 50-50 some big old rail, and I did like a couple other tricks.
That little spark turned into an inferno. Burnett gave him a chance and like Silas saw the opportunity like, whoa, I could do this. Skater of the Year is no joke, man. There's thousands of skateboarders, but there's only one Skater of the Year.
It was huge, you know. Getting Skater of the Year was something I didn't expect at all and wasn't something that I knew was happening, and it was really big, but it kind of like fucked me up a little bit where I felt like I had really big shoes to fill and I wasn't there yet. I didn't feel like the kind of like legendary skater that all the other Skater years previously had been, you know. I didn't feel like I was in that category. But after that, I felt like I had to be like way better than I was, and it was kind of hard to like live up to my own expectations. I don't think I would still be a pro skater now if I wouldn't have gotten that Skater of the Year. If I had known that I would have a career till 37, I think I would have been able to relax into it a little more. But maybe at the same time, maybe I wouldn't have worked as hard. I always felt like this is my chance to do this. This is my chance to do this. This video part is my chance to like rip, you know what I mean? This is my chance to do this interview, so I'm gonna rip for it, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't fully think that there would be like more and more and more and more. This is Lovejoy Fountain Park, named after Asa Lovejoy. This is one of two of the parks that I filmed this video part at. The other one's called Ira Keller Fountain. Both of these spots are kind of classic Portland spots. I filmed a couple clips here and was stoked on the way it looked. Wanted to like maybe make it into a full-on project. And then so after I started working on it, I started like learning about the architect who built it all, and it's this guy, Lawrence Halprin. And he actually was the architect and designer of like EMB, the Levi Strauss Plaza in San Francisco, United Nations Plaza in San Francisco. It was kind of really cool to like learn that the same architect that built this place also built all these other really iconic skate spots. And they all kind of really similar look of like jacked up ledges, kind of rough, not like typical shapes. They usually have fountains that run through them. It's kind of a way to like kind of have an open area in the middle of a dense city and kind of bring elements of nature into the city. Not only did the aesthetics of the spot attract me for skating, even though it was rough, but also the idea behind the aesthetics was something that I kind of really related to as well. So, and got about halfway through and realized that this place is really hard to skate and the ground sucks, and it kind of was a lot to take on, but it ended up coming out pretty cool. It has a really cool aesthetic. It was fun to like kind of skate here and get to know it and like kind of find different ways to skate it. There's a mental toll that comes with trying to like be the best I can be right now, you know what I mean? Like trying to put everything into a video part. There's a mental toll to it, and sometimes it doesn't feel all that worth it, and sometimes I know that I'm just doing it for myself in a lot of ways, you know what I mean? I don't think that there's a whole lot of expectations outside of myself to like put out like an amazing video part or like push myself to the limits, you know what I mean? Like I don't think that my sponsors are asking me to do that or expecting me to do that. I just have a better sense of the kind of skating I want to do, you know what I mean? Instead of just like doing all the tricks, I feel like I know how to skateboard now, you know, and how to be a skateboarder. Skateboarding's awesome. Like everything around it, the culture around it, the act of doing it, like the lessons you learn, the perspectives you get, like it's the best. Never not bleeding. Always never not bleeding. And being able to do it as a job and being able to like do it for this long, it's incredible. Dude, I trip out all the time, like knowing that I'm like paying rent on my house and able to provide for my family, and like also have the free time to like have a garden and to like go learn how to find mushrooms and fish, and like not have to do that stuff on the weekend and like make sacrifices over like, oh, I can either like hang out with my kid on the weekend or I can go fishing, you know what I mean? Because I get to be at home with my family so much and I get to spend all this time. Dude, it's incredible.